So parrying is like a really important part about this game, right? Have you ever considered hiring Matthew Perry?
That's actually a pretty good question. That's half the stuff we talk about at the company.
Once upon a time, on a magical site called Twitch.tv, there was a streamer named Blessious. He lived without a care with his faithful companion, the chat. One day, the streamer wandered far from the farm, and with his friends at Nintendo, ended up on the other side of the tracks and entered the world of CUPHEAD, hashtag free product. Because of his bravery and his ability to one-shot every boss in the game, Blessious was invited to join a developer interview to discuss the game and ask the hard-hitting questions that no one else dared ask.
How did the 1930s aspect of CUPHEAD come about, and was it Disney-inspired at all?
It was inspired hugely by what we grew up watching. We had a lot of VHS tapes of old cartoon compilations, and a lot of that was old Disney, old Fleischer, even Comic Color, and like all the other studios that were popular during the era. We always had that in the back of our heads of how cool would it be if somebody could pull off cartoon style in a game. And when we said that, it was kind of a joke, like, yeah, we're not going to do it, but that would be cool. Jared had a pretty cool idea for starting from elementary school and starting in a style of what kindergarten art would look like, and then as you worked your way through, it'd go up to higher quality art, and there was macaroni glued onto macaroni animals and a few other like weird ideas that seemed cool. So we went through a bunch of that, and we always just came back to what 1930s would look like. It kind of stuck as like, this is the aha key moment that we want to go for.
This one comes from Crazy Dave, who said, how did you come up with the idea for Miss Chalice? And to add to that, did you always know that at some point Chalice would end up being playable?
Wanted it to be. It's not that we knew it would be, it's just that when we designed her in the first place, and we're like, she's a key part of the mission, and she's handing out your supers. We're nearing the end of the game, we're like, we would love to have her as like a playable character, but we had not put in the effort to think like, how could this pan out? Maybe it's going to be a game too. And so along the lines of when we were discussing releasing a DLC, it was like a shoe-in that we're like, the majority of the point was so that we could make her playable again and give her kind of a quest and kind of fill out her character a little bit more.
Certain things that happened towards the end.
Here we go.
There was definitely a moment where my jaw dropped and I went, okay, we're doing this.
First try, baby.
I think for anybody who hasn't had the chance to play it, well, they're in for a good time.
We kind of knew with DLC the type and style of bosses we wanted to hit, because we didn't get to kind of go through these tropes, these cartoon tropes in the first game, the giant and bugs and, it's the cowgirls kind of farm animal. There's just a few things that we knew we wanted to hit.
There's only just a few modes and things that could have existed. Like we had the running idea for something we called the Tower of Power, which was sort of a randomized boss rush that would randomize easy, normal, and hard and New Game Plus fights. And it kind of was like a one life boss rush mode. But in the end, we kind of ran out of time, and it didn't seem to add enough to the game to be worth our time trying to incorporate it.
I know we still have it on Trisha's stream, but I actually want to see what JD and Bless are doing right now.
So I actually first tried what Trisha was on.
Oh, you were on the Moonshine Mountain.
Oh, I did it. First try, baby.
What? First try?
No, you didn't.
Shut up.
Oh, check the VOD, baby. Check the VOD.
Oh, this is a really good question. This comes from the Blazer saying, how do you guys test the difficulty of the bosses? And how do you find the right balance between difficulty among them?
There was a benefit in the first game to being able to show it on show floors. So we had more play testers, essentially. 20,000, 40,000 people play the game. They could kind of gauge where the average skill set is kind of at. But then, too, it's just more our personal opinion that we were always trying to tune a game to be reminiscent of the 80s. And there's something that, because we grew up with it, that's where we kind of find the fun. It's like finding the challenge and then the reaction time and then really pushing yourself to earn that moment of finally getting victory. So that's sort of the theme of what we wanted to do for the entirety of Cuphead. Whereas DLC, we were kind of in the dark. COVID kind of doesn't let you test with large groups of people. So it was more just going internally, being like, does this seem like it's about as hard as kind of that Island 3 range? And then just kind of roughly play through with the people in the company. But the problem is everybody's 10 times better because they already know exactly what to expect. And then the last of the long part of the ramble is there's just like a series of internal rules where I'm like, I got to be able to beat every boss in under 2 minutes with just P-shot. So I'm like, I put that test to myself, and then I'm like, okay, I got to be able to beat every boss in under a minute. Kind of like I set challenges to myself until I can complete them, and then I'm like, this matches the rest of the game reasonably.
I'm blown away by the fact that the self-imposed rule that you set for yourself is 2 minutes with pea shooter. Because some of these bosses, I'm thinking like, there's no way to do that. There's absolutely positive. Which one? I'm just curious. Like of those bosses that you were testing with the pea shooter under 2 minutes, where you're like, man, I don't know if this is gonna be it. I don't know.
Well, Saltmaker's the only one who kind of breaks the rules, so it was like nearly impossible. But the Devil and Saltmaker, we have the time set for the final grading screen to 3 minutes anyhow.
Yeah.
But that was definitely the toughest to be like, can I achieve that in that timeline? Yeah. I could just barely squeak it past.
How have we not talked about this yet? This is like mind-blowing to me.
Let's hear it.
Let's talk about the music for a minute, because the music in this DLC is unbelievable. That's something obviously people have always loved about Cuphead.
I think the first thing to say is just that the composer, Chris Madigan, is the key to all of this, right?
Jar Jar is a key to all this.
We kind of give him free reign, and he knows, we kind of talk the same language, and we grew up together and played the same games. So when we started realizing that we were going to push ourselves with the DLC, and Chris kind of got into that same mindset of like, okay, we can go a little bit bigger and a little bit bolder.
In about 5 minutes, I have to start setting up my gameplay. So if you guys are backloading these for when you're
I was backloading.
I'm the one struggling. Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, we'll keep it backloaded.
So parrying is like a really important part about this game, right? Have you ever considered hiring Matthew Perry?
That's actually a pretty good question. That's half the stuff we talk about at the company. I think actually we did have some placeholder names in the first game, maybe even in this game too, with Perry as a first or last name too. So it all ties in somehow. Internally, we have the cheesiest names that we use all through development.
They're good though. They're great names. I love them.
Yeah, we don't name anything.
We have to get some world exclusives here. We're just world exclusive. Let's hear this. What are some of these code names?
Yeah, I was about to say, what are the names that didn't make it?
Deep. They're deep.
Deep cuts.
So we just name it the visual you're looking at. So it's
cool.
like
Spider.
Goopy Legrand, we just say the slime. These guys, we just called them the Rum Runners. We didn't even name any individual character. We're just like, you're playing the Rum Runners Spider.
Do you have a personal favorite weapon or power-up?
I'm simple, so I'm just like, I always go P-shotter and spread. I just like having two things that don't really change the gameplay or make me have to think. It's like just enough to keep me focused, but I definitely wouldn't say that's the best combination.
I'm even weirder. I think 95% of my Cuphead play is P-shot only.
P-shot only.
Yeah, P-shot only. And it's the default weapon. It kind of just feels like that. It's the first thing we really nailed and what we played around with early on. And it's just, I don't know. My play style is so suited to, aiming exactly where you need to aim that that's all I roll with.
This is a little bit of a lore question we got from the chat. This is from Ga, is the guy's name. So, okay, Ga, who says, who is older, Cuphead or Mugman?
Oh.
Go out on a limb and just say because Chad is more Cuphead and he's more the player one, and the younger brother always is the second character, the Luigi or the Mugman. That inherently, due to the older brother, younger brother relationship, I would say Mugman is likely younger.
Oh.
Would you be willing to go on record to confirm Mugman is indeed younger than Cuphead?
He's officially younger.
Oh,
wow. Yeah, world exclusive here.
World exclusive.
There you go.
I saw we have a question here from chat. Did you guys put your voice in the game, like a grunt noise or something? Anything? Any efforts?
Yeah, there's a few places I can't even remember. I believe my voice is still on the thank yous when you revive the characters.
Oh, no way, really?
Man, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna do all the Foley work, which is foolish. I just bought some random microphones and was like, if I get a large enough book, I can get enough pots and pans and strings and make the sounds for the whole game.
And then I snuck in our 3 kids' voices.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
My daughter has the chalice. Thank you when you revive her. So
Aw.
there's a few little things in there.
It's so awesome.
Do your kids even venture into playing Cuphead? Probably not.
Only ish, and part of it is because I'm being a very weird person, and I'm forcing them to play the old games first from the mid '80s that we grew up with. Our middle son, he's been playing games like lots of harder games, even like Ninja Turtles on the original NES, the first one. So he's playing all these games, and then he goes to a friend's house and he starts playing another game. And when he comes back, he's like, it's like there's nothing to do. Like it's not fun. And I'm deep down, I'm like, thank you. He wants the pure arcade experience of you just plug a cartridge in, and play the game, and there's nothing else. There's no story. You just start playing.
So no Konami code?
No, he knows the Konami code. We have to be fair to him.
There you go.
I do have a lore
Hashtag
question.
Get good, everybody.
Yeah, let's hear the lore question.
Okay, so this is from me. No one asked this, but you might have answered this before, and I'm just curious. What is in Cuphead and Mugman?
I think the thing we always say, it's the essence of their soul.
Oh, that's
Wow.
But we haven't
that's
really
dark.
locked it
No,
in as anything.
no, it's open for interpretation.
I mean, what does the essence of their soul taste like? I'm very
Oh,
curious.
that's a better question.
We've
thought it-
not
I
sure
thought
I
it
say
was
it tastes
just,
like mangosteens.
Yes.
mangoes.
And if
that's
you
very
haven't
specific,
had a
right?
mangosteen,
Yeah.
you should go out and get one.
What is that, mangosteen? This is
We're just saying that might be the flavor, because Mugman drinks his own out of his own head for one of his intros. So
Oh, that's right. He does.
he's technically the only character who would know what that taste is. Jared's just guessing. Could be mangosteen, could be durian. We don't know.
Oh my God! With dear life, when Cuphead got announced for Super Smash Brothers, when we got that costume,
Oh yeah.
I was losing. I'm screaming on my couch. I'm running all over the room. For you guys, obviously, as being a fan of like all these old school Nintendo games, to get the call that like, hey, Cuphead is gonna be in Smash Brothers. Floral Fury is gonna be a song.
It is the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you're always staring at Smash Brothers and you're like, what would it take to be put in with those elite? So now I just can't wait for the next Smash Brothers, where hopefully we're on the launch roster.
Whoa, is this elite?
Hold on.
Is this elite?
Smash lore.
This one comes from Cordyceps in chat. Says, is there any backstory for the devil that we aren't aware of? Like, does the secret boss tie into it? Cordyceps says, the devil's my favorite character, especially in the show. Love Luke's work.
I think with most of the story and the characters, we try to leave them somewhat open, right? They're not fully locked into like, this is definitely linked to that, and we want people to kind of, play around with. It's almost like their own version of the game in their mind as they're playing. So we don't have any world exclusives for that, sadly.
Someone said, is the animated series technically canon for Cuphead and Mugman?
We see it as kind of like everything has its own entity. So it's almost in the same vein that Mario's been in 20 Mario games and they're all part of Mario's story. It's like each of these is kind of their own individual running, not necessarily timeline, but it's almost like everything is its own story unto itself. It's not as though the characters have to be locked into one specific universe.
Or astral plane, rather.
Or astral plane.
Okay, so we got it. The multiverse has been confirmed.
Yeah.
We got
Yes. I was gonna say, speaking of planes, this was actually a really good question from my chat. I think it was Weiss who said, was there ever a vertical shooter stage considered at some point? Obviously, we got the horizontal ones, but yeah, I'd be very curious how that would work.
No, it was like we discussed early, and then we only had to pick one or the other, because it would have involved redrawing all the characters again for the opposite vertical scrolling mode.
Sure.
And we just thought, because the visual of the sideways is already established across the rest of the game, that we'll stick with that.
Oh, man. Well, Jared, Chad, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for talking with us. This was so much fun. Thank you for taking the time to give us all this insider information, and it was really a blast. And, of course, massive shout-outs to Bless and JD and Trish holding it down with the gameplay while we were asking the questions. Thank you to Nintendo for putting all this together, for the hashtag free gold, for the hashtag free games. Thank you very, very much. Anything else you two want to plug? Any future projects you want to discuss or upcoming pieces of merch like a Miss Chalice?
We'll just list everything off.
There you go.
I think what we want to say is just like, thanks for having us. This was wonderful. And really, we love our fans. We're so humbled every day. And it's been wonderful. It's been a wonderful ride, and we're going to keep making games.
We can't wait to see whatever your next project's going to be. Once again, massive congratulations on Delicious Last Course. Already selling over 1 million. Absolutely fantastic. And to all of you who were in the chat, thank you so much for tuning in, for sending in your questions, hanging out with all of us. This was a lot of fun. People in the chat already going, future projects. Wait a minute. We're going to have to talk about that off screen.
Wait, projects means more than one?
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
World exclusive. All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye, everybody.
Roger.
See you, dudes. Thanks for everything, amigos. Yo, dudes, you would not believe this, but I have to restart my computer because it is on fire. Ironic, I know. So be right back, dude. Sorry about that. Be right back.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Exactly. That world exclusive.
World exclusive.
Yeah, that's right.
Look, I mean, I'm just saying, I love y'all's work. I'm actually a huge fan of Cuphead. Listen, I mean, if y'all get that season 2 on Netflix, if you need some voice actors, I'm just throwing myself out there, just letting y'all know. Man, Blessious is a voice actor too.
Hey,
I forget.
yo.
I was like, you're probably not gonna get a chance to bring this up, so you might as well bring it up now.
I mean, I am available.